The war on the unvaccinated is raging on. It's been revealed that teachers in Queensland, I spoke about this last night, are going to be retrospectively punished by the vindictive Palaszczuk government if they weren't vaccinated. Many companies are facing the reality of operating with staff shortages after laying off unvaxxed employees. Many people have taken the jab to keep their job. But there are some, like Alan Dana, a highly experienced Jetstar pilot who, along with many others at Qantas, lost his job because they refused to take the vaccination, as is their right, by the way, under long-standing international health protocols. Alan Dana and others are taking Qantas to court, but the case won't be heard until next year. Meanwhile, calmer, Qantas has revealed its third consecutive loss of the pandemic, putting the group's total statutory losses before tax throughout the pandemic to nearly $7 billion. Jetstar had the biggest losses of all. Well, Alan Dana joins me now. Great to see you, Alan. How are you?
Oh, great. Thanks, Ryan, for having me back on.
Last time we spoke, you were heading off to the court. You're basically suing Qantas for unfair dismissal because you lost your job, basically because you wouldn't be vaccinated. Just very briefly, tell us where you're up to in the court case, because there's other things I want to talk about.
Well, basically, we're now into this stage where we submit our evidence for our accusations against Qantas, what they did. And we're basically fine-tuning it now to the points that Qantas actually breached our contract. So all the other mandate stuff is important, but the very, very key one is breach of contract. They've introduced a significant material change to our employment bargaining agreement, and they haven't done it properly. And basically, they needed to offer that change to us to be able to accept or reject. And they chose the cheap way out. And what they did is they made a defamatory claim against all of us that we were in breach of serious misconduct, which is actually the preserve of theft, fraud, assault, being
Absolutely.
drunk on the job.
I'm just going to jump in there, Alan, because I don't want to spend too long on the court case, but you're right. This is typical of the vindictive nature of companies against the vaccinated, the unvaccinated. I've just flown to Europe and back. I chose not to fly Qantas deliberately because in the past couple of months I've been fed up with what were once beautiful, wonderful, friendly trolley dollies, now behaving like stormtroopers, monitoring you as you eat your peanuts to make sure you put your mask straight back on after you've had your peanuts. Hated it and vowed I wouldn't fly on their airline again. Do you see any links between their massive job losses, the fact that the financial losses, the fact that they've had to hand out vouchers to try and get people back onto their airlines, and the way they treated not only you, their employees over COVID, but also customers?
Yeah, there's a huge amount of money would have been wasted on the treatment of their staff. And the thing is, Richard Branson said years ago, if you look after your staff, the staff will look after your business. And what Qantas and Jetstar have done is abhorrent. They've just decimated the morale within the company. The people are still there, know and like some of their friends that have been terminated, and they're just not working with the company at the moment. So nobody's going the extra mile that they used to go. They're not coming in early. They're not staying late. They're not extending duties if they have the option to. They're just putting the boot in where they can. And the problem for Qantas is they're also facing EBA and contract negotiations. And there's a lot of bad blood that they've created. I just don't know how they're going to recover from this. And Alan Joyce's statement today is like putting lipstick on a pig.
Well, you go woke, you go broke, as they say. Now, quickly, Alan, you live in Queensland where teachers are being basically vilified. If they weren't vaccinated, they're now being retrospectively punished by the vicious Palaszczuk government. Do you see parallels with your own situation there?
Absolutely. It's a bullying culture that has gone through all of the departments, including, the medics, the nurses, the doctors, APRA, the Civil Aviation Authority, the businesses across the country. And it's just like, it's a division through the country that we just don't need. We need something better than that. And it's just an abhorrent situation. They can't do this. Those teachers have been penalised, being stood down without pay. That's enough. And they were not notified, and neither were the principals, because I spoke to a teacher today, and she said the principals at the schools weren't even notified that this was coming. They were given a directive to come back to work And there was no indication that this was going to be on the cards. And now the people that have returned are going to be facing this. It's just not a good recipe for any sort of resolving the situations and the situations that we've been through for the last 2 years. There's no coming back from this. I just don't know what to do.
Well, Alan Dana, a lot of people will draw inspiration from your bravery and your courage. You've stood up for what you believe in. Thanks so much for chatting to us here tonight, and we'll chat again before your court case. Alan Dana, thanks so much for coming on this evening.